Hi guys, just going to take you through what I do for my sourdough mix. I use rye meal sourdough starter. So we'll get straight into it now. Got my scales. Got the scales here. Zero them out. Put our basin on, and I'm making a double batch of sourdough. So I'm putting 640 grams of water. Oops. We didn't zero the scales out for the bowl, which we'll do now. And we'll start that again. 640 mils of room temperature water. Around about a little bit too much. We'll just take a little bit out. Take a little bit out to where right about there. Right, 640 mils of water in here now. Now we're going to add the sourdough starter, which you can see here. This morning, about 6-7 hours ago, I mixed my rye meal. That was a few tablespoons on the bottom of this jar. We mixed it 5 tablespoons of rye meal with a little bit of water, nothing scientific, no weighing it with scales or anything, just winging it to a consistency of like stiff whipped cream, and then let it rise, and it's risen double. And you can see the nice bubbles in there, and it's got a nice rounded top on it too, so it's just perfect for adding. So we're going to add 200 grams of starter to our water. And as you can see, there's just a little bit of a scraping left. That's all we need to start our next sourdough loaf. So I'll just break if there's any lumps in there. It's quite right. And now all I do is add what is it, 3 teaspoons of salt. I just use ordinary iodized kitchen salt, and we just sprinkle that in the water mix. So sprinkle that around, give that a quick stir with a spoon just to mix it in, and then we zero that out and we grab our flour. And we put 900 grams of flour into the water mix, the starter. $550. 900. Remember, we're making 2 loaves here. A little bit more. We are $8.95. 28. 900. And we're done with that. And that's it. We'll just mix this around here now. We'll just take that off the scales. We don't need that anymore. And now it's a matter of mixing the dry into the wet and making sure that all the flour has become wet and there's no dry spots of flour. Just some people put their hands in there. I just like using a spatula, and we just keep mixing around, or you can use a card scraper, whatever you prefer. I just mix it like this, just pushing it into the wet, and any dry little patches of dry ingredients, just push it into the wet starter water mix. Just like this. I just push it in. If it's a little bit dry, just keep flipping it over until you get all that dry flour all wet. Just like that. That spot there, not too bad. Just like that. And the sides, and just bring it roughly into the middle. Don't have to be too flash with it. Scrape off any there. And basically, that's all that you do to prepare. I just give it a squirt, just spritz it with a bit of water, just to give it a little bit more, just to keep it hydrated a little bit more if there's any dry bits on top. Then I just like to wipe the bowl clean. It makes it easier for getting loaves out later on. I mean getting the dough out later on when you've got to stretch and fold it. And that's it. And then we'll come back to the first stretch and fold. We'll leave that, cover that with a cloth, leave that for half an hour, come back and do our first stretch and fold. I'll see you then. Right, we're back. It's been about just over half an hour now, and we're up to the next stage for the first stretch and fold. So we'll get straight into it. Just have it covered up there. You better see, there it is. Right. It's quite sticky. So the first thing we're going to take it out of the bowl to stretch and fold it. I did start at the beginning following a few YouTubers, and they would mix it up in the bowl. I tried that and it was okay, but I prefer the method of getting it out. So I just get a spray bottle, wet the bench down, wet your spatula, and just give it a spray on the edge where you're going to bring it out so it can slide out easy so it doesn't stick to the sides. So now we're just going to go around and scrape it out. That wet side there, scrape it out, and it'll come out onto the wet surface. Just like that. There we go. Right, and now, so slightly wet your hands down so they're a bit sticky. And then we're going to just spread it out, just like that. And then we're going to stretch and fold. Just pick up an edge. It's quite stretchy already, even though it's quite sticky. Stretches though, see it will break if you stretch it too far. Oh, it's quite stretchy actually. It's quite warm inside today. The fire's been on this morning because it was a little bit cool. Springtime, nearly here. And we just keep folding it as many times as it will go, as it will want to go. And the water just helps to stop from sticking to the bench and sticking to your hands. Might be just one more. Yep, let's get a bit more wet on my hand, pick it up like that, and then just folding it under, and basically that's all we do. Put it back into your bowl, like that, cover it over, and now I leave that for 1.5 hours and do the exact same what I just did, stretch and fold. And every time it just gets more stretchier, more glossy, and I do that for another 2 times. 2 lots of 1.5 and then 1 hour, And then after that 1 hour, that last hour, it comes out onto the bench and it's divided, and we'll show you that later on. Okay,